Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's the HiFi Brothers.
And today we're going to talk about the Arendal 1723S bookshelf speaker at 1961 1V subwoofer.
Let's do this. Well, welcome to today's episode, everybody. It's been about a month since our last episode, but yeah, we're really excited because we are going to be talking about a couple of products from the Arendal lineup. Before we actually get into the product review, Ralph, I thought it would be kind of a nice idea to tell our viewers or just give them a little bit of backstory of actually how we got these.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, a couple months ago, bro, we did a review on the complete 1723 THX system in my theater, and, you know, we got a pretty good following on them. So Arendal actually reached out to us and they wanted to share some products that they just came out with and wanted us to review them.
But just a little disclaimer, they're not sponsoring this video, so we're not making anything off of this. We're just we're giving you guys our honest opinion like we always have done in the past. So if you're new to this channel, it would really mean a lot to us if you subscribe. We've been growing little by little, and we can't thank those of you enough that have already subscribed. But if you're new, yeah, hit the subscribe button right now. Absolutely. If you don't want to subscribe, at least drop a like to the video at the end. That really will mean a lot to us. All right, Ralph, well, let's go ahead and get into the review. Let's start off with the bookshelf speaker.
Absolutely. So they come with a 28mm waveguide tweeter. It also has a 6.5-inch mid-bass driver. It has 4 binding posts, bro. And they also, it's 250 watt at 4 ohms. Now these come in 4 different colors. They come with white gloss, black gloss. They come with black matte and white matte.
So Ralph, the one thing about the bookshelves is let's talk about how they sound. So you've had these for a little over a month. Yep. So yeah, go ahead and tell us about your experience with them.
I had a pretty good experience with these, bro. You know, I set them up as a front stage. I've set them up as a wide stage. I tried them in as a surround stage. And you know, honestly, the sound that comes out of them are pretty dynamic. You know, they're the mid bass on them are really good. The tweeter is actually really neutral. You know, comparing these to like an SVS Ultra, they're very comparable. But with these, like I said, mid bass is really good on them. These go down to about good 52 hertz. You know, whereas the Ultras they actually go down a little bit lower at 39 hertz. So they have a little bit more. The SVS Ultras has a little bit more bass. These ones have more of a subtle bass. But like I said, at high volume, you can't really take these apart. These things are they can handle some good energy. They're pretty awesome. All
right, Ralph, I think that was a pretty good just overall review about the bookshelf speaker. So now we're going to get into the subwoofer.
Absolutely.
So that's the 1961 1V subwoofer. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody your experience about
Absolutely.
That one. Or let's go with the tech specs first.
Yeah, let's go with tech specs. So this thing comes with an 550 watt IQ amplifier. It's 550 watt dynamic power. It has a 12-inch woofer, believe it or not. The size of it is pretty big. It's I would say it's a good 23 inches height and about 23 inches depth wise. It's vented, so if you put it in a corner somewhere and it just takes over. I mean, it's don't worry about the wattage. Believe it or not, I tried it out and it actually sounds pretty good for what it can do. Given that it's the 1961, it's actually their lower grade, but like it doesn't come with the app. You don't have app functionality. That's why it's good to know exactly how to tune this thing.
All right, Ralph, that's pretty good lengthy tech spec overview.
Yeah.
Now I know what everybody's asking is, okay, the tech specs are great, but how does it sound in a home theater setup? So why don't you go ahead and tell us again your experience with watching movies, playing video games, etc.
Yeah. So actually this subwoofer actually is pretty dynamic. Like I said, it actually does produce some bass, man. It does. I would compare this one with the SVS, the PB2000, the Pro series. It's like I said, it's same amount of wattage. It's actually a little bit bigger, obviously. But yeah, let me say something. When you set it up right, and like I said, you want to hear Godzilla stomp on the ground. It's actually it does do the bass. It's pretty awesome. It's a good subwoofer. I'm going to tell you right now, it's pretty good.
All right, Ralph. Well, I'm glad you mentioned the lack of the app capabilities, because the one things that I was going to actually ask you was a comparison between the two subwoofers, being that you have both.
Yeah. Like I said, the 1723s, that's the Mayhem series, right? So that one has two subwoofers versus the 1961 only has a single subwoofer, and it's only 12-inch versus 13.9-inch. There's also a vented one. That's a 2V. I got the 2S, which is a sealed. This one's vented, so you're going to have a little bit more extension on just with the vented series. But then again, you have 1200 watts on the THX versus you got 550 watt. Bass-wise, yeah, you're going to get more bass out of the 1723 THX. This one is going to give you ample amount of bass for a smaller or medium-sized room. It's going to be enough for you.
All right, Ralph, I think that's pretty good, man. Why don't we get into some final thoughts? I think in the final thoughts, we can give everybody kind of our blasting opinions of what we think about. Let's just talk specifically about the two products that we mentioned, not really the comparison of the other ones. If you are curious about the other speakers that Ralph has in his setup, watch that other video. We'll put a card above us right now. So the first question I'm going to ask Ralph is, if somebody's looking to get the bookshelf speakers, right? They're obviously the best ones in the Arendal's lineup. Are you going to miss a lot by not having a subwoofer?
I would definitely add a subwoofer with these. You have to add a subwoofer. Bookshelves are made for high to mid bass level frequencies. That's why we recommend using a subwoofer with a bookshelf. That's where you're going to get the extension of the subwoofer, versus without it.
That's kind of why we did the review this way, where we're talking about the bookshelf and we included the subwoofer, is because any subwoofer that you, or any bookshelves that you've owned, any bookshelves that I've owned, I've always paired them with a subwoofer.
Always.
You can definitely have them stand alone. I think you'll get a lot of good sound, but you're missing that really low end, right?
Yeah, you're missing
as part of that home theater system. You're just like, I need a little bit more bass and like more juice out of this front stage, right? Because that's primarily why you have such a small form factor speakers. Is you didn't want something that's either overwhelmingly big or it probably wasn't in your budget. All right, Ralph, that's great. I got one more question I want to ask you. Is how are you actually using them in your setup today?
I'm actually using these as my front wide channels, believe it or not, bro. Like I said, they actually transition from speaker to speaker really, really well, because the waveguide tweeter, even though you got a 6.5-inch driver, I got 8-inch drivers. Like I said, the panning over from left to right and going into the wide stage, it's pretty good. I'm like I said, I'm actually kind of shocked at what they can do. Sound wise, they're actually pretty good. With that said, adding the extra subwoofer on top of that, it just makes it more dynamic. That's one thing about these speakers. Are pretty versatile, which is awesome. Yeah,
and I noticed that too when I came in here and I saw your setup. You actually have the 1961 at the front.
Yes.
Of your setup, and you have your 1723s in the back corner.
Yes.
Is there a reason why you did that?
Not all rooms are the same. So my room, for some reason, bro, is on the left side of the room. I get more bass extension on that side. When I put the larger speaker, or the larger subwoofer in the back of the room, left corner, I was getting more bass output out of there. If I put them on the right side, forget it. It just gets dull. And that's the one thing about these subwoofers, is that you can increase the volume all the way. They won't distort. That's the one thing about these. They can handle some good juice, When you have a two subwoofer setup, you're filling in the gaps of what your other subwoofer can't fill in.
Well, that's good, Ralph. That's a lot of information. These are really great speakers. They sound great. I think for anybody who's looking to start their Arendal setup, I think the bookshelves are the way to go. I think the 1961 subwoofer is the way to go.
Yep.
With them, I probably wouldn't buy one without the other.
Yes.
If you got to start out small, obviously, you got to do what you got to do with the budget, but I would strive to make sure you get the subwoofer with the bookshelf speaker.
I'm also going to add that if you can get your hands on a really good Class D amplifier that can handle over 200 watts, I definitely would recommend that, because you want to get the full bandwidth of those bookshelf speakers. Whereas if you just get just an internal amp on your receiver, it's going to produce the sound, but you're missing a lot of headroom with these. Somebody that wants to start out with just a 2.1 setup, these are going to be dynamically just right for your system.
Well, that's pretty awesome, Ralph. I think that concludes our video.
Absolutely. So make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification button.
And as always, keep it hi-fi.